Stuff's Chief Political Reporter Henry Cook here. I'm on the edge of the convoy protest which is currently occupying Parliament and the area around Parliament. You're probably just joining me now. My name is Henry Cook. I'm the Chief Political Reporter for Stuff. We're down on Molesworth Street, and right now on Molesworth Street there is not many cars, but there is these new concrete barriers that have just been set up to stop more cars joining it. This area has generally let some traffic get through for the last 2 weeks as this protest has gone. It's just I think its third week now. It started 2 Mondays ago. So we're just going to have a walk around the protest, see what we can see. There's some guys looking after this border. There's also a cop car there, concrete barriers. As you can see, Molesworth Street, this area is actually quite clear, although no cars could drive down it right now because of that concrete barrier. Here's Wellington Cathedral, which is, or Old St Paul's, which is currently, or New St Paul's, which is currently a little bit less surrounded than it was on Friday, actually. I might just switch my headphones, make sure you guys can hear me well. 1 second. Let me know, but that should be a little bit better. We're down by Wellington Cathedral on Molesworth Street right now. As I said, this part of the protest is a little bit less thinner on the ground than other areas, but they have surrounded this cathedral despite a request from the cathedral to not have on its lawns or grounds. The cathedral, at least on Friday, was still open. People to go in and reflect and pray, including the protesters, of course. There's this lawn here, quite a few tents. Vibe this morning is a bit different, but it was last week. I think partially because it was just a very nice day, but also the concrete blocks that the cops have set up to basically contain the protest where it is now, which is still quite a spread out area, seems to have changed the mood a little bit. Here we have the front of the protest, front of the cathedral. So tents. Remarkable range of tent styles. We've got the old kind of canvas style tents, mostly the newer nylon ones. Some of them really well put up, lots of guy ropes. Some of them, the ground's not quite good enough for lots of guy ropes, so it's a bit harder. Our area of Hill Street, where there's been kind of one lane of traffic allowed most of the time, but as you can see, half of the street basically blocked. Now Hill Street runs north of Parliament, so we're just on the edges of Parliament grounds now. As you can see, things are getting a little bit more packed in. There's a lot of portaloos here, which they are managing to mostly service, although in a statement made last night, they were saying, basically a group of the groups that are here, who say they represent a majority of the protests, were saying they had problems getting in to service the portaloos, so they're kind of making the point that it would be very hard for any group to decide that they should clear the streets, because it wasn't like they could even clear a lane reliably, let alone all of the streets. We're just here on, I think this is Bunny Street here. No, possibly not. This is possibly a continuation of Hill Street, but it's a street that runs alongside the National Library, which has been closed all week. This street's much more blocked. Cars and heads here for a long time. Quite a few on the pavement recently, but they seem to have moved off the pavement mostly, so I guess people with wheelchairs can somewhat get around, although crossing the road might be very hard. And this is the Court of Appeal here, which has been, it's already under some kind of construction anyway, but it's been completely surrounded with kids and they kind of full of it, and people are even bathing in the fountain. You might understand why. It's despite the reputation, Wellington weather often quite good. Today, very nice day, you can't beat it. But 19 or 20 degrees, still sunny. I'm pretty hot in my work clothes, to be honest. I can see why, there are worse days to be sitting around outside all day, unlike, not the weekend just went bed, but the last weekend when it was pretty horrible out here in Wellington. So you can see they've emptied much of the pool in the Court of Appeal. You can see there. I think they've stopped all sittings right now, but I think the High Court might be going a bit longer. So we're just walking down Molesworth Street right now, which is completely blocked. You can see across there, there's no real way through. Most of these cars have been here almost the entire time, although overnight sometimes you just kind of come back and there's a lot of change. This horse float over here has drawn a lot of chalk. It says, it used to say quite clearly, jab into your taxis here, with a photo of the Prime Minister in prison. Photoshopped, obviously. And there's a lot of stuff on here, a lot of kind of messages about freedom. I also think quite a lot of messages about, paedophiles controlling the government, other conspiracy theories like that. There's a queue down there. It's kind of a debate whether that suggests that maybe there are QAnon supporters or not. And here we have the entrance to the main bit of Parliament grounds. You can see this gate's been chained open. And there's security posted on the gate. Security who stopped media coming in last week, but has since stopped doing that now. Also, supposedly, cops have stopped coming in here too. So this is the main bit of Parliament grounds. You can see the lawn. It's not really a lawn anymore. It's just kids, and I think underneath a lot of the grass has been ripped up, and it's just hay now. This is kind of the main lane down Protest Village or Freedom Village, or you want to call it. There's a women and children lounge, kind of a Christ childcare thing here. A lot of kids from the Health Forum in the Head, which is a Facebook group. There's a spread often completely misguided information about vaccine injuries. Some families of people who've died when they moved the vaccine have had people tell them that their son or daughter actually died from the vaccine. I think you can hear right now the speaker giving a message suggesting that they are trespassed, which they have been for about a week and a half now. One of the rules with Parliament protests is you can actually, the rules are relatively free in terms of you can go on Parliament lawn and you can protest as much as you want, but you can't put up structures or protest overnight, is the general thing. Obviously, there are a lot of structures, so that was kind of the immediate protest thing. Also, obviously, parking your vehicles on the road and leaving them there. You can hear main speakers around the Freedom statue.
No hidden agendas. What do you want? And you would put that to work. And they were calling
a lot of the debate inside the protest has been around who controls the mic, and there's something at least. And there's been a definite turn down from more of the, arrest everyone and force account consequences on them to slightly softer rhetoric in the last couple of weeks. As you can see, pretty full of people right now. This is the currently fair record Parliament who, keep Parliament's grounds going. So that's basically all being worked or being ruined. Although, obviously, some of these parts are still going. These trees have been useful for people to tie gyros to and whatnot. So we're still just on. If you're just joining us, I'm Staff Chief Web Reporter Henry Cook. I work in Parliament usually. We're doing kind of in and outs for making sure we don't all go down with COVID. So I'm not actually technically in the gallery today, which is the back of that building there, Parliament House, is the beehive. I've been coming to this protest most weekdays, going to talk to people. Most of them will, some will start very, immediately going to Freemasons controlling the government and whatnot. Others will start off quite mad about the mandate specifically. Often when you press them on that, they kind of reveal that underneath that worry about the mandates, they're also just distrustful of the vaccine in itself, that they've heard various bits of misinformation about how unsafe it is. Of course, the vaccine is dramatically safer than getting COVID. There's extremely rare chance of myocarditis for some people from the vaccine, and there is quite a high chance of myocarditis from COVID. A lot higher. It's not like everyone who gets COVID is going to get myocarditis, but it's certainly a lot higher when you get from the Pfizer jab, which has been administered to billions of people around the world. If it did be a little bit more obvious if it was really dangerous. Well, I'm hearing the sound's not that good. I'm so sorry, is that any better? You want to let me know, is that sound any better? And my comments back, I can see. This is an alleyway. Oh, good. Sorry about that sound. This is better. It's good. If you're just joining me, I'm Henry Cook, Chief Political Reporter for Stuff. Down here, they've blocked off this alleyway to the back of Parliament, which is kind of still the only entranceway that politicians and everyone else who works in the building like me can get in. That alleyway has been blockaded by the protesters. They've also parked across. They've removed some of the cars, but there's still a car across this keep clear space, which is one of the emergency exits from the basement of the beehive, and also where they get hoses for fires. Fire and emergency said they came and talked to them last week about this. There was more cars, and they said that they got kind of a channel enough that they could get the hoses out if needed. So we're just on the steps going up to Parliament House now, and the beehive. You can see slightly less people here than there were last week, but down here on the centre tower, there has been a lot of cars and a lot of tents for a while now. I've never stepped on a tent on concrete. I don't know what it's like. I don't know how hard it is to put up on concrete. But I assume if you have an air mat, it's not so bad. It might be a bit colder than the grass. I don't know. It's not been that cold in Wellington other than that really bad weekend. So you look up here on Bowen Street, the cops have actually cleared quite a few of these cars that were blocking this entire lane. Basically down here, let me just zoom into it. This entire lane was blocked for quite a while, but they seem to have cleared that. I don't think they were towing. From what I can see, they were actually lifting some of the cars. And they've also installed these concrete barriers, which I'll show you in a second, which the idea of those is to basically contain the protest where it is and stop it growing, because it was growing quite a bit last week, to the consternation of a lot of Wellingtonians who kind of understood that you might not be able to go in there with batons and hurt people or anything like that, because no one wants violence, or at least very few people do. But letting the protests grow, I think, confused a lot of Wellingtonians. So here we have, I guess, the border of it with these concrete barriers, which were installed early in the morning. Some confrontation while that happened. You can see that now the traffic is flowing a lot easier on Bowen Street because of these. I see they've added the J and the re back to the sign. For a long time it just said hey and ein. It looks like they've added some of the JAC and the RES back in there. So these are the concrete barriers which are on Lapton Quay end and signify kind of the border that the cops are set up now. They won't be letting anyone else come in, and I think if people leave, they won't be able to come back. There is, as you can see, a lane open right now, both going in and seemingly one coming out of Lapton Quay. These kind of open and close. I've seen them in both states quite a bit over the last weeks. And here's Victoria University's law school, which is entirely surrounded by tents. It's actually the old government house. People say it's the largest wooden building in the Southern Hemisphere. Never actually fact checked that. There is, as you can see, a lot of tents there, and Victoria University students in these buildings, both the law school and the business school, who run the house, have been told that they won't be able to go back to school until April, which has annoyed a lot of them, as you can imagine. There's a look up the beehive in the centre tower, full of people. And then down here was a lot more vehicles down on this. This is probably more of a growth from the original protest. Has been down on this kind of bus terminal. Buses aren't going through here anymore. They were for a few days, but they're not now. And that's just because this is the main bus terminal in Wellington, just by the railway station, and it's just totally swamped by cars, as you can see. Oh. I haven't really looked at the comments too much, but if anyone has any questions, someone who's been watching this pretty closely, who's not around, I can probably ask. There's a dog having a nap there. It's a pretty hot day to have dog outside. There's some shady areas they've been in, I've seen. Shade is really, as ever, when camping, shade is often the prime resource on days like today. There's a lot of gazebos and whatnot. So here, this is Bunny Street. So down Bunny Street here, which is usually actually closed to cars and is only for service vehicles and bikes, and scooters and whatnot, is obviously totally full of cars and tents, tarps. Donna, go back to the actual protest instead of running like the vehicles. The vehicles are the protest. I think it's key thing that changes this protest from a normal thing of a lawn is not just the tents, it's the vehicles. It's the fact that so much of Wellington is blockaded by all these cars. The vehicles are the thing that really changes that, and it also obviously gives them longevity, because if anyone who's gone camping but with a vehicle or without a vehicle will know it's much more comfortable camping when you have a vehicle. You can keep your stuff dry, or you can use a generator to charge your devices, or use your car to charge your devices, stay there when it's wet and rainy, keep all your clothes in there. It's a lot more comfortable camping, especially for 2.5 weeks, if you have a car. And a lot of people do just, from what I can tell, not really go up to the lawn. They mostly just sit around in their tents down here, talking to passers-by. So this is that kind of edge of the protest down on Bunny Street. This is a boundary that the cops have established with concrete barriers. Let's go for that. There were a few more cars kind of across on the traffic islands there last week. They seem to have gone, not sure voluntarily or not. But there are still some vehicles parked around the railway station, which probably signage would indicate that they're part of the protest. But you never know. So there are a lot of vehicles that are parked technically legally, that are like in actual car parking spaces. But I don't know if you'll be paying people are paying the machine every day or not. David Seymour, who I assume is not David Seymour, asked why there are still children here. There has been some chat about that. I have to say, after the first week was, first week was probably a pretty rough time for kids. They do seem to have a bit of a crate established and various shark activities. Not sure how effective that is with this many people, but there is clearly effort from the protest to look after kids who are here. But as with all these things, it's very hard to have a uniform view on these things because there's so many different groups, so many different people. So you might see something happening that's totally not reflected elsewhere. If you're just joining, I'm Staff Chief Political Reporter Henry Cook, just going for a walkthrough of the protest in Parliament. Thanks for joining us on TikTok. No, we're not really even Stuff the company. It's not Stuff the company, but Stuff the brand, which is bought in 1999. Probably a little bit old for this platform, but we're doing our best. Trying to stay hip, trying to stay current as ever. How many days have I been here? I work at Parliament, so I've been here not quite the entire time. I've had a few days at home just because of our kind of COVID. Practice to make sure that we don't all get sick at once. It means that we're kind of having half of the office in 1 week, half of the office out 1 week. But I live in Wellington. I've been coming down pretty regularly. Came in every day last week. Try to talk to people on ground, get a range of views. We're back on Mulsworth Street now. We're just heading back up to the actual protest. David asked if I'm safe. Yeah, I'm safe. I'm fine. There's the kind of really anti-media vibes, and we're obvious if you have a camera with you, like a not a cell phone camera, but an iPhone camera. A TV camera. As to the answer about the mask, when I put my mask down to talk, but I do have one near me and try to use it when I'm in really close contact with people. Although I would say that outdoor transmission is really rare, and I'm of course triple vaxxed, very safe vaccine. Just put it out there again. The Pfizer vaccine is much safer than getting COVID. There's oodles of evidence of this. I'm just attending to report, Megan, I'm not a part of the protest. There's no workplace. So we're down here on Mulsworth Street again. Some of the kind of idea of the signs on here. There's a lot of these stickers. Seems to be a lot of one of the big questions left is how much funding is coming in, because there's clearly a lot of money. If I'm not hold on, put my mask on for a second to go through this quite tight area. 1 second.
You're doing is not, and then you walk out for the good. It's not shoplifting, it's standing up for your rights. So don't just walk past the shop and give them the finger. Go in and make...
It's some parts of it smell, never Portaloos, the rest of it, smells like a festival. Basically, I'm from Staff. I'm from Staff.
Admin?
For Dominion Post. Not from admin. Yeah. For Dom Post. Dominion Post.
Dominion Post.
Yeah.
Okay, do they check you through security?
Yeah, I don't actually need to go through security to enter Parliament grounds.
It's actually under Tangata Whenua.
Yeah, that area have totally objected that trespass notice.
That's what the media is saying.
Well, no, it's what they're saying in the media.
Yeah, I'd like you to leave. I'm going to actually ask security to come and remove you.
I'm not going to leave because I have freedom of movement on Parliament grounds. It's my workplace and everyone's front lawn.
Yeah, as long as they're not recording.
They actually put a message out on Friday night, the message groups from all the organisers saying what they didn't
Okay, come and we'll check it out.
Sure.
Okay, is that cool?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
So
it's just that, we've had a lot of media twisting what's really going on. So.
Well, I don't disagree with that.
Oh, you disagree with that? Yeah.
Yes, obviously.
There you go. See? So you're talking for all media, are you?
No, but I am a representative of the MSM.
We've got a media here that wants to go in and do some
I'm currently live streaming. Hi.
live feeding. What's to do with the media? Mainstream media?
Who's the security?
We talked last week and they said we had total freedom of access to the grounds.
Yeah, it's been changed. You need to follow this morning.
Well, no, that was...
It's been claimed under... This is now a marae, so...
Not sure what the local iwi have actually agreed to that, because most of the local iwi we've talked to have said that they would rather you guys not be here.
Have you spoken to the local iwi yourself?
No, my colleagues have though.
Your colleagues have?
Yeah.
Okay. Am I to believe that?
Sure, I can show you the story if you want. I'm currently live streaming though. But Parliament Grounds is a public space.
Well, it was, and it's still, people are welcome to come here, but the media have not been telling the truth.
It's not true.
It is true, because I'm living here and I've seen the media.
Yeah, and I work here and I've seen them coming out and we haven't been lying about you at all.
Well, the media in general, I'm saying, has been, sorry.
Okay, cool. So are Calderston still allowed in? Are they still allowed in? Calderston Media, are they still allowed in? You know, the Steve Bannon funded alt-right outfit, can they still come in?
I speak for the...
Look, you don't speak for the organisers, but I don't see why I can't go in.
About security, so just wait there.
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go in because
Yeah, you are.
Parliament Grounds
Okay,
is
well,
safe.
it's security and they can remove you.
Sure.
Yeah. He is a media representative.
I'm from South and Madon Post. Yeah. We were cleared last week to come in as much as we want.
I think so. The morning meeting, one media I'm not sure.
Okay, can we find out?
Well, if you go to,
Do you have any comments?
if you go to security and find out, just along here to the left, there's security right over there.
Okay.
Just to make sure.
Let's just check it out because, you know...
Sure, I mean, I just making clear that I completely reject your authority to stop me entering Parliament Grounds.
Second base is the vaccine. Third base is
Yeah, I'm going to Parliament Grounds. Thanks.
digital tagging. The fourth base on the way home.
So I don't know if you all heard that. That was someone trying to stop me going to Parliament Grounds. The stuff about the local iwi, unless things have changed a lot, the local Marapeta have actually said that they don't want the protest here, let alone stopping the media going into Parliament Grounds, which is a free space that everyone in Parliament, everyone in New Zealand is welcome to, usually. Here's the speeches.
Bring together biology and digital. These sicko transhumanists are wanting to bring their technology, digital nanotech, into your body.
Looks like the speech is currently about nanotechnology.
And
Anyway,
make you have
let's keep going for a walk through here. Don't really want to get collared by that security if possible, or I'm sure they'll find me. I have orange hair. It usually makes it easier for people to spot me. Anyway, anyone else got any questions while I'm here? Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a internal debate over whether to let the media in or not. It smells like a festival basically. Think of a festival that you've been at for 3 or 4 days. If you've been to any largish camping festival, it's like that. Lots of tents, lots of wet grass and stuff, but not too bad except for near the portaloos. Yeah, there's been a bit of an internal debate about whether to let media in, clearly. Last week we got stopped a few times as well, but then this email address, no name, that claims to be from 5 of the groups here representing a majority here have said, oh, well, we don't want to make media feel unwelcome, but if they call ahead we might be able to make sure they're escorted. Obviously that's something we'd reject. We wouldn't want to get escorted around a public area of New Zealand. I think I might wrap it up here, but just before I do, anyone else have any questions? How often do I come here? I come here most days. I think they're not letting the media in just because, they would like to present a narrative of a very calm and peaceful protest without much, I guess, crazy stuff, but there's plenty of crazy stuff here. I would not want police to escort me, but it's not something I usually have to do in New Zealand. Do I recommend going? I mean, if you want to go see, you know, I'd say wear a mask if you get close to anyone. Keep walking around a bit longer.
Yeah, so that's the mission today. I've got to go around. I actually have some friends.
I think on the dogs question, I think people just bring in their dogs because, you know, you're leaving your home for 2 weeks. You've got to take your dogs with you if you're doing that. Cool, I want to end this now. Thanks so much everyone for watching. Updates all day on Southland on the live blog. And might do this again another time. Seems to go pretty well. Hopefully next time I won't have someone stop me on the way in. Cheers!